really, it doesn't matter what news you watch. And there's a chyron, or there's a graphic on there, which basically says the number of confirmed individuals who have the China virus, and then the number of deaths. I am deeply troubled by this. First of all, it's not a basketball game, and I don't know why we keep running those in America, but that's up to these various entities, not me. But it's also misleading. There was a wonderful piece in the Wall Street Journal the other day by two top medical professors from Stanford University. It's not conspiracy nuts, not backbenchers, frontline men. And they wrote, fear of COVID-19 is based on its high estimated case fatality rate. 2 to 4% of people with confirmed COVID-19 have died, according to the World Health Organization and others. So if 100 million Americans ultimately get the disease, 2 to 4 million could die. We believe that estimate is deeply flawed. The true fatality rate is the portion of those infected who died, not the deaths from identified positive cases. This is crucial. So when you see a number that says identified positive cases and death, unfortunately, a lot of people may be misled to say, wow, that's the number of people who are dying, and these are the number of people infected. No, that is not the number of people infected. We have no idea how many people are infected. It could be 5 times, 100 times the number you see in terms of the people who are infected. Why? Because everybody hasn't been tested. So in other words, the fatality rate from this disease is much lower. Look, I'm not understating what's going on here. I'm trying to put some facts on the table here. The fatality rate, when you look at the general population and those actually infected, is much lower than what you're seeing on the screen if you're using those two numbers. They say the latter rate is misleading because of selection bias in testing. The degree of bias is uncertain because available data are limited. We have more and more tests going out, and you'll notice with more and more tests taking place, the fatality rate is starting to come down, right? Because this is a statistical issue when you're looking at statistics and numbers. But it could make the difference between an epidemic that kills 20,000, which is bad enough, and one that kills 2 million. If the number of actual infections is much larger than the number of cases, that is, orders of magnitude larger than you're hearing, then the true fatality rate is much lower as well. That's not only plausible, but likely based on what we know so far. This is a very, very important piece. Not because it tells us, well, we can give up, everybody start kissing each other again, it's not a big problem. No, that's not the point. The point is they're saying this fatality rate, if people are going to put it out there with some truthful context, put it out there so people understand that we're not talking about the number of infected people who are dying. We're talking about the number of infected people who we've determined are infected. That's a completely different issue. All right. I want to be very careful when I talk about this stuff. There's a great economist I want to introduce you to.